Hey everyone, Matt here. It is Wednesday. That is the main event time where we go over our main topics for the week. So if you're watching or listening, this is the meat and potatoes of the episode. If we happen to have any news to discuss as well, that's where we'll talk about it here. For the full episode, check us out on Saturdays. Thanks for watching and listening. Hope you enjoy. Welcome to another episode of Stack Your Points. As always, I'm Matt Clausen from the Matt Clausen YouTube channel, joined by RJ from Do You Take Cards? RJ, how are you?
I am terrified and slightly nauseous, but otherwise I'm great.
Do you sage your fears? Let me tell you, I think tomorrow's going to go just fine. And also joined by Lani from the Call Me Lani channel. How are you today, Mr. Lani?
I'm doing all right. I'm in between trips, packing two different bags right now. And I also agree that no matter what, the sun's going to rise and set tomorrow. So, RJ, you'll be fine.
It's the whole will it rise on Wednesday that we have to worry about. But again, I think tomorrow will be fine, just fine. So, we do have Tariq sadly absent this week, but we look forward to him rejoining us next week. Just things have popped up. So don't worry, Tariq's here in spirit. We'll go to our topics. RJ, what is your first topic of the week?
So I want to know because I find it interesting how people answer questions like this because I think it tells us quite a bit about what they value and what their pain points are. If you had the power to make one major credit card change for cards or issuers, what would it be? Would you get rid of 524? Would every 1% or 1x card become automatically 2x as the floor? Would cards that have been discontinued only be allowed to be around for a year? What would you do if you had the power to change one thing among credit cards and or issuers? Matt, I'm gonna go for you first.
Oh, there are so many things that if I could just make them go away, I would. First and foremost would be the 524 rule. Within Chase, I would also get away with I would also do away with the one Sapphire rule. I do think there is space in a wallet for a Sapphire Preferred and a Sapphire Reserve. Just because I am somebody who values cards and card ecosystems being complementary, and if the Sapphire Preferred, even in a bad Sapphire Preferred, I do think the Sapphire Preferred is bad. I do think that if you're in an all chase ecosystem, that streaming uh category would be really complementary to running a Sapphire Reserve as well. The online grocery, which should be full grocery, would also work really well with Sapphire Reserve as well as the Freedom Unlimited, or if you were running inks as your secondary set of cards, um, I would do away with those. Um, other things that were mentioned, discontinued cards could only last 1 year after they were axed. I am somebody who is very much like annoyed with zombie cards and the existence of zombie cards, whether they be city or, as Faithco has mentioned in our Discord, that US Bank also seems to have a cavalcade of discontinued cards. Discontinued cards, if there is a reason that you took the card off the market, you shouldn't keep the card around, even if it's been amazing for a select few members, select few portion of your card population. If the card's not working for everybody, don't keep it around for the minority. Like, I would definitely get rid of those within a year or so. Um, those are some of the biggest things. Like the 524 rule definitely makes a certain amount of sense. I don't like it, but like I would personally do away with it. I also understand how it sort of makes a certain amount of sense. But this one Sapphire rule is dumb. Get rid of the one Sapphire rule. There's room enough for a chase quadfecta of the Sapphire Preferred, the Sapphire Reserve, the Freedom Unlimited, the Freedom Flex. Make your Freedom Unlimited a 2x catch-all card, and like 90% of chase complaints go away. Um, Amex, I can't really think of anything. Amex is relatively balanced. Like family language is annoying, but Amex had to deal with churners for the longest time, so like family language sort of makes sense. Um, but then they extend no lifetime language offers to folks who will, once it's offered to them, will abuse the crap out of it because they're in a very select club. Um, yeah, those are the ones that I would definitely change. I would love to live in a world where every card was where every card had at least flat 2x earning. I get why it's not that case, but I would much rather live in that world than the one we currently live in. So yeah. Um, get rid of 524, get rid of the one sapphire rule, and making cards at least 2% or as a base earning would be sweet. I know we can't live in that world, but if I were put in power, those would be the things I would do.
Lonnie, I'm very interested. What would you do if you had unilateral power to change something?
Well, first, I'm going to resonate with Matt that freedom unlimited should be 2x. I'm going to reach out to the built folks again because platinum needs to mean something if you're going to have these statuses. But that's not my actual answer. My answer would be a customizable card. There's too many options, too many cards out there. If like I could just have a pay to play, make it the way that I want to card. So let's just say I go to Chase, or RJ. Let's say we go to Amex, and
Bring back the zinc card.
and I sign up for my card and my charge card, and I get approved, and it's like you get to pick 2 out of these 10 bonus categories, and your annual fee is $100. And then it's like, okay, but I need 4 of those bonus categories. And now I can customize it. I can add those 2 to the exact same card. And yeah, I might add on an extra $100 to my annual fees for that pay to play access for extra bonus categories. Or maybe it's 6 and they add on $250 more. But this way, one, I don't have to carry around 8 different cards. I don't have to apply for new cards all the time for a new bonus or because this one covers X and that one covers Y. I can just have one card. I hate to say one card that rules them all, but for me, that's completely customizable to my lifestyle that works for me. And then you can have the exact same card, but it works for you. Your annual fee could be different. And this way you have a tier system of entry level. I just started off and maybe I only got the charge card aspect at $0 annual fee, but that $100 I had mentioned comes when I want to add a bonus category to it. And so like, yeah, I'm going to add grocery, I'm going to add gas. But then it's like, oh, wait a sec. I want to add dining. I want to add travel. And then I can just start customizing it that way. One, that would keep everybody into one ecosystem and make one each person, the whatever brand, if you went Chase, it makes Chase valuable. If you went Amex, it makes Amex valuable. So the competition from the card standpoint, the card issuer standpoint, is still there. They want to get that person in and hold on to them as long as or as possible as they can. But then as I grow, my lifestyle changes. I will be able to customize the card around my lifestyle. I can take categories off, I can put categories on, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I said et
I,
cetera, et cetera, et cetera a lot. Hopefully that doesn't end up being the title.
no, it will not be the title. Um, I have it on good authority that will not be the title.
Great.
Um, so I love that answer because I think that is something, the ability to be flexible is something that issuers don't like, but I think it would get them a ton of buzz. Like if a company did this even at a lower level, like take whatever the Freedom Flex and the Freedom Unlimited have going on and just make your Freedom card. Like the name is right there, right? It's perfect. Could be great. Yeah, I love that answer. Mine is, now I'm speaking specifically because I am an Apple fan, so I know the Apple Wallet app very well. I wish you could add cards to the Apple Wallet and the interface you get on the Apple Card, you can have for all of your cards, and you can have a total version of that. So all of your cards get that interface individually, and then you have one at the end for all of your cards, all of your spending, all of it. And the reason, I mean, I'm sure that the other phone manufacturers have something similar, but I know how good that Apple Card interface is. And if you could have that so I don't have to go to 4 different apps to see 5 different pieces of information and Amex shows me it this way and Wells Fargo shows me it on the choice card this way, but then I got to go to choice to find this other part of it. I just want one wallet app that has all of the information and has a consistent UI so I just have to look at one place. That's all I want. It'll never happen because companies have to work together and forbid they ever do that. But I think it would be a nice way for the customer, for the people that are spending the money to actually be able to see everything in a way that is beneficial.
I would love to see something like that. I would also love to see Lani's choose your own adventure card, because there is
That's the official
essentially
title, by the way.
no um no annual fee that I wouldn't pay for a choose your own adventure. Like, the credits would have to be like relatively interesting, but I would love something like, oh, I only want to do these categories for 250. I will do these categories for 250. Oh, I want these categories, but I also want, global entry. I also want lounge access. I also want, 3 or 4 other things. I want an elevated warehouse option. I will pay 450. I will pay 550. I will pay whatever you deem that higher tier to be. I'm here for it. Lonnie, if you were ever hypothetically to talk to people at Built, please ask if they would ever do a 2x earning card on everything with 1x on rent, and if they would make Wells Fargo a transfer partner. I'm not asking for specific like friends. I'm just asking for me.
No, that's a good question. And like I had mentioned, I'm talking to a couple of my internal friends that work there that I've met since creating my YouTube channel. And hopefully I will go to their office next week. So we shall see. And if I see Ankar, I'm going to trip him a little bit. And then I'm going to ask him, that's what you get, dude. Now, why did you do that? You
Can I
tripped
just
me
say,
and I tripped you up.
a trip is the least you could do. Other thing would be business card, because there's room for business rent. They could make so much money with business rent. Anyway, sorry.
I think they need to hit factory data reset and get back to the basics.
Yeah.
Before they try to create a new product. They need to fix the current product.
Yep.
Yep.
We're not going to make this a Built episode. Sorry.
Nope.
RJ
Nope.
didn't mean
It's only
to
the third or fourth time we brought them up tonight, but this is not a Built episode.
infiltrate your question with Built. My apologies.
We're gonna have to do just we're going to have to at some point, like we did basics, like we did business cards. We're gonna have to do specific Chase episodes and Amex. Like we're gonna have to. I have given myself over to it,
Yeah.
and there will be a Built episode, and I will make popcorn that I will be eating during that episode. I can't wait. It'll be great.
It's gonna get hot. That one's gonna be hot.
I hear Ginger makes really good popcorn.
We might have to do the foul language checkbox on the Built episode.
If we were ever to launch a Patreon, that's where that would go.
Members only.
No foreshadowing or anything like that. But there we go. All right, so let's move on. RJ, were there any major changes that you would make to credit issuers? I don't know if we covered that.
The Apple type of
Yes.
UI, I would definitely do. I really liked Lonnie's. I liked yours. Probably also the Amex 5 credit card rule. Just because their credit cards are really interesting, and because they have the Hilton and the Delta cards, that can get a little dicey. They don't have as many of their own credit cards anymore, though, so it's less of a problem.
Oh, if I were to come to power, the Delta Reserve, the Hilton Aspire, and the Bonvoy Brilliant would all become charge cards. Add that to your 10 charge card limit. All right, so we'll move over to my topic of the week. My topic is does it ever seem or feel like we overthink the whole credit card game and still do pretty well with a and could you still do pretty well with a flat earning card or coupon sites and apps or buying points that you want? So my premise here is do we overthink multipliers? Do we overthink like, oh, I'm going to this store, I need to use this card? Um, does this store fall under a category that one of my cards can cover? And could we still do pretty well? Not fantastic, but like well enough where we have a flat 2% earning card, whether it be the American Express Blue Business Plus or the Wells Fargo Active Cash or the Chase Freedom Unlimited, which should be 2x, but is what it is. The Capital One Venture card, anything that is a flat earning card. PNC has a flat earning card. First National Bank of Omaha has a flat earning card. I digress. Like, will we still do okay with a flat earning card earned with like paired with like Rakuten and other coupon earning sites, Tau Cashback, Retail Me Not, etc., as well as taking the time to just buy the points in the ecosystem of our choice. It's something I've thought about. Do we overthink our whole game? I will tend to overthink my categories, but I don't take it to that next step of like I should just dedicate myself to a flat 2% earning card and Rakuten, and then whatever points I get on that, I can transfer out or use as cashback to buy Hyatt points, to buy nondescript points or like non-transferable points from with like leading hotels of the world isn't the best option here, but like buying points or buying whatever with Omni Group or airlines or hotels that don't necessarily come across the ladder, or even if they are transfer partners, like just taking that as something that I wouldn't earn points with to transfer, but I would spend time and spend money to buy those points. Um, RJ, is this something you've ever considered or uh, thought about or overthought?
So I have a couple of thoughts on this particular overthinking question. I think any hobby you can overthink, right? Like if you want to be a great guitar player, you can watch Hendrix and you can watch, the the Rolling Stones guitarists and you can watch all of the guitarists in the world and be like, I need to do it exactly like this or I need to do it exactly like that. At the end of the day, if you just want to play guitar, you can learn to play guitar without all of the extras, right? You don't have to have the flair, you don't have to be able to flip the guitar over your back and bring it around, right? You can just play guitar. If you want to have a 2x catch-all and use Rakuten or another cashback service and just buy points, you can do that and be very successful with it. You're gonna leave points on the table, and if that's something that you're comfortable with, then do that. I think if you know what you're spending on and you know what you want out of the cards, it makes things a lot easier. Like, I need something to cover my dining spend. Have the gold card. I'm simplifying this for effect, everybody. Don't be too nervous that I'm having the gold card only for dining and I use no credits. But I want the some of the features of the platinum, so I have the platinum. Like I know what card I'm not going to use my platinum for dinner, right? Like because I know in my brain without thinking what cards. Now I have about a dozen cards. For me, it's pretty easy to keep track of what I use them for what. I just got a choice card. I went to Lowe's to buy a doorknob and I pulled out the choice card because it's 5x on home improvement stores. Like I didn't even have to think about it over there hard. Actually, I used my phone, so I didn't even have to pull my wallet out. But I just knew that I'm in a home improvement store. This is the card I want to use. I use the card. I think when you have multiple ecosystems you're trying to work, if you're trying to work Amex and Chase and Wells Fargo all at the same time, and you're trying to be like, well, if I get this point's only worth 2.1, cents per point, and this point I can turn into like 5 cents. Like, yeah, if you get into that, but if you know your partners, as Lonnie and I tend to be the drum beaters there, if you know your partners, if you have a general idea how you want to use the points, if you have a general idea of what categories go with what card, I don't actually think it's that hard. I think when we all try to be a little precious, that's when things snowball and ravel. And when we get into, I love a spreadsheet, but when you're 7 pages deep in your spreadsheet trying to like maximize every point, I think that's when it unravels. Like, you have to be the one in control of this. The game can't be in control of you. You can't be racking up massive debts. You can't be like at dinner, like pulling out 4 spreadsheets to figure out what card you want to put it on because, there's a deal this week, but hey, can we wait until it's 12:04 so I can pay my bill? Because then this kick, like, you have to have a general idea. You have to know, okay, my Sapphire Reserve is my dining card. I'm going to put it down every time. Yeah, if I get a kicker on my flex for 3 months, I'll use that and then everybody's good. But you have to know yourself and know your habits and then just build it out from there. And then just put the other cards you don't want to use in a drawer, sock drawer them, have them on your phone in case you really need it for something, and then just go on. I think people try to get too precious with cent per point and all of the other things, and they forget the basics of this is my grocery card, this is my flights card, this is my hotel card, and just like the flow charts where it's the is it this? No, is it this? No, catch all, use this. I think those are helpful. I think more people should make those because it really clarifies what you're doing. Like people just they try to keep too many competing ideas in their head, and I think it messes with them.
No, totally fair. Um, yeah, I can definitely see that. Lonnie, your thoughts on do we overthink the whole game, or you know, could you
I
just do well with this flat earning card and buying points?
You 100% could do well with a flat earning card. And I think in a lot of cases, a lot of people start off that way, to be completely honest. Like your first card or two, you're basically there, flat earning, even if it's like not necessarily a cashback card, but let's say it's a co-branded card or a transferable points earnings card. You're starting off with that being your everything, and you do just fine. And then you realize, oh, wait, I could be optimizing better. Now, I actually agree with RJ of you're only going to make it as hard as you make get yourself. Like whatever your brain can handle, and if you go over that, you did that to yourself. And there is a level of overthink. Actually, I know Tariq's not here tonight, but my Freedom Flex is the one card that makes me overthink because I have, as RJ had mentioned, I'm in that scenario. It's like, oh, this is my dining card, or this is my grocery card, or this is my that card, and this is not my gas card. And then Freedom Flex comes in on a hot quarter, and it's like, we're giving you 5x in this category. I can't tell you how many times in Q3 I used the wrong card at the gas station because I was like, yo, I just it was a Tuesday and my go-to card for gas was this one, and I forgot that I could get my 5X on my Freedom Flex. I probably twice in a month I did that or even so, I don't carry my Freedom Flex with me unless I need it physically, which I hardly ever need it physically. And it's kind of like the built card. It's like, oh crap, the first of the month's coming. Let me go ahead and put this in my wallet for Tuesday. On Wednesday, I don't need it anymore because the first is over. Anyway, how many did it? 5, 6 times you brought up built tonight now? Anyway, going to stick with jumping back to the question at hand here. But yes, it does. We can feel like you can overthink it, and buying points, as you had mentioned, using the apps. This is all part of your strategy. Your strategy is not just your transfer partners that you pick. It's not just how you redeem points. It's also how you earn them. And if you want to keep a very simplified way of the way that you get your miles, your points, whatever, for whatever your goal is, then so be it. That's not overthinking it, but is there a better way? Yes, we all know there's a better way, but then that better way comes with extra work that could lead to having 10 cards. Which one do I carry with me today? What's in my wallet? What's in my wallet in the month of November? What's going to be in my wallet in the month of December? But we did it to ourselves. And so I will say, I will use your term once again tonight and be like, it's choose your own adventure. It's only as heavy as you want to make it. How many of us actually know? We probably got people we're related to that we share genetic blood with that it's like, I only got one credit card. And you're just like, you're not doing that, right? And their response to you is, I don't really give a crap. Turn the game back on. Like it's just the way of life. And I don't think we can judge those people. We can try to help them and say, hey, there's a better way. But even with that better way, maybe they don't have a great credit score. Maybe they don't want to apply for another card. We talk about player twos often, and almost in every scenario, every conversation around player two, the player two is the person that's like, I don't want another card. Or how many times have we heard someone say, I did this on my wife's SSN?
Yeah.
Not in a bad way, but it's like that in this scenario, what I'm bringing up is that player two is just not in it like someone or enthusiastic or in it as much as we are.
No, I can definitely hear all that. And when I think of the concepts of like, we may say it's not in a bad way that we're using our partner's identifying information. I myself don't think I would put my partner in that position, whether or not like I have my partner's consent to do it. But like,
Absolutely not.
yeah,
Not in this house.
no, like my partner has mentioned like, oh, like, look at my credit score, look where I've been, look where I've gotten to, what I'm thinking about applying for credit cards. What should I do? That's a whole different conversation. But like,
Exactly.
I will sit down with them when that time comes and be like, okay,
Yep.
to help us in what we're trying to do, you applying for this card would make a lot of sense. You applying for this other card would make a lot of sense. You applying for this third card would make some sense. Oh, I have a referral link for this card. Use my referral link when you're applying for that card with this link
Exactly.
because I need some points.
No,
We need
exactly.
some
I'm going
points.
through that right now as we transition our independent strategies, our plan A strategies, into a unified family strategy. And so now we're prioritizing. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm kind of leaning away from Amex because I can't like pool points with Amex. Amex, fix it. But we can transfer points between Chase. We can pool points with United. Um, we both have IHG Premier Platinum now. So we're creating this larger family dynamic strategy that works for either of us, no matter if we're traveling as a unit or if we're traveling individually. Because, like I said, I travel for work. She travels for work, her job as well. So that way she has her lounge access, she has her status. If, as she earns her miles, we can all use the miles together as a family. Or if we get our Chase points, we can all pool, she can take her Sapphire card and send it to mine. Or I can take my Sapphire card points, my Chase points, put them to my Sapphire card and send them to her. It's a transition that we put ourselves in to overthink of like not just these independent strategies, but now how do two people create one strategy together?
Right.
But we're doing it to ourselves.
Right. That'll be a fun one, I'm sure.
Yo, Chase and United make it very, very easy, and so does IHG. So when I tell y'all, pick y'all partners, I'm not just saying it. There's so much rhyme and reason behind it.
Pick your partners, which could help you in picking your partner's partners as well, assuming your partners aren't
Yep.
necessarily into the game as entrenched as the three of us are, as well as
What's funny is
Tariq.
this is actually bleeding into her mother. So the mother-in-law is also now getting into picking partners that are unified with us so that we can all do things together. Of course, piggybacked by my United status. So like I mentioned a few months ago, we flew to Hawaii. So even Bomb got the 1K stat. Pick your partners. It's the information is out there. They don't want y'all to know it. But that's why I created a YouTube channel. So I'll tell you.
I am the Eric Warheim gif of like the exploding mind of universe right now. With that, Lonnie, your topic of the week.
Yeah, so I think I got a pretty easy, fun one, but also I am very interested in knowing, and that's because this is one of the things that I'm currently sitting in right now, and that's what is your sweet spot when it comes to your points. Now, how many points is too many points? So I was talking to fellow creator and friend Joe Barreto. I think he either just dropped or is about to drop MX video where he has over a million MR points. Um, so this kind of goes along with how many cards is too many cards, but not necessarily. Now, we all value our reward currencies, either MR points, chase points, miles, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to take cash back out of the equation. But as we attempt to not learn, as many points as possible so that we can achieve our travel goals, some of us like to earn and burn. Like their accounts, like your MX account might sit at a couple thousand, 10,000. While others like myself, I don't mind letting them sit there and accumulate. I know, yes, they could get devalued. They're not worth anything till I use them, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't use them or I burn them as fast, even though I do earn them at a very good rate. Now, no judgment. I'm not doing anything. So leave the judgments out of it. But some cards will do inflated bonus offers. And when we instantly think, hey, I need that, right? Or at least that would be nice for me to apply for another card. Now, if you need points, sure, I understand that when it comes to an inflated bonus offer. And we're probably going to see a lot of these coming up in Q1, like literally if between somewhere between Black Friday and Martin Luther King Day, we're probably going to see a lot of inflated bonus officers. So it's like, hey, I need that. Or at least it would be nice to have. And maybe I apply for another card. Now, if you need the points, that's one thing. If you have something planned that you're going to use those points for, that's another. Sure. I'm not taking anything away. But what about those that are in it for the thrill just to get as many points as possible without any plan or just want to like sub chase? They're not really optimizing that spin like we talked about in the last question. So for me, I try to keep like around 400,000 chase points and around 400,000 United miles. Now my United miles go high. Matt, you've seen it. We've talked about this before where not even at top of the year, earlier in the year, I was 800,000. And it's like, all right, I got to burn them. I got to bring them down. Right. Like, and this is kind of like where that question is coming from. Right now I'm sitting on maybe seven, just for me, not including my player two, my wife, but just for me, I'm probably sitting on about 700,000 chase points where I'm like, yo, I got to bring them down. But then at the same time, the ink card, Ink Unlimited has this. Yes, I'm talking about Ink Train. The 90,000, which is actually 99,000 after you hit your sign up bonus. You are points. And it's like, man, that would be nice. But I don't really need it. So my question is going back to where's your sweet spot where you feel comfortable with how many points you have? Is it like RJ looking at you now, like with your MX points, like I want to always have 600,000. What's that number for you? What is that sweet spot? Yeah, RJ, I'm going to actually keep it with you first.
So I think this is going to wildly depend on how you travel and why you travel. I know that I'm going to travel mostly for sporting events or family stuff, right? Like those are the two biggest reasons I travel outside of my monthly pilgrimages to be the alone in the woods, right? A three-star hotel is camping for me, so going off the grid to a hotel by myself is how I camp. So for me, I don't need a ton of points to do that, right? Like I don't need 700,000 MR points next year to do whatever I want to do, right? Like I don't physically need that many points to get all of the things I want done. So for me, if I have 100 to 200,000 MR points. If I have some points in Choice, if I have some points in Marriott or Hilton for whatever I want to do, then I'm pretty comfortable because I do a fair amount of cash bookings because I want to save those points for when they matter, not when I necessarily just want to go do something. And I think for me, like, I know I'm going to go to probably 6 or 7 pro sporting events next year, right? I don't have a ton planned, but I'll definitely go see the Red Sox play. I want to go to a Bruins game. There's soccer that will be had because soccer has infiltrated my life for as long as I've known, you know, soccer. So I know I'm going to do that, right? So I've already committed that sort of, 200-ish dollars a night times 7 times, probably a little bit more to my budget. So if I can use points, like if the Hilton in Boston, one of the Hiltons in Boston has a really good deal and I can use 40,000 Hilton points and get a really nice room instead of, spending 500 bucks, I'll do it. So for me, I don't need as high of a number because I'm traveling with other people that have no real expectation that points are going to matter, right? And I think that's part of the difference, right? Like if I say to the family that I travel with, like, hey, the room's, 400 a night for 3 nights, and they don't depending on where we're going and all of that, they still want reasonability, but they're not like, okay, use your points and, we'll buy dinner or something, right? Like they don't even think in the points and miles game. Now, I might buy my room on my points and, pay for theirs and get those points back, but it is more a system of I use points more sporadically to when I either don't have the money to do what I want to do or I'm doing something where I want to upgrade that I don't want to pay for, or I just can find a really good deal with Hilton or Choice or whoever, right? So for me, I don't need super high balances except for when I'm planning something like the Nashville trip took a lot of points and miles to get to, right? So that required me to have a certain level of points in there, but that was for a specific purpose. Different things like 2026, when I go to England, like I'm going to need points. So that will be pre-planned starting in, middle of 25 to 26. I will start racking up some points to be able to do that. But those are all planned things. For my non-planned for the rest of this year, beginning of next year, if I've got 1, 2, maybe 300,000 points, I'm happy to be flexible around that because my lifestyle allows me to be. If I had a kid, if I had a partner where I needed to account for them and had to do all of the heavy lifting for them, because that's just the dynamic, then that would be a very different points calculation that I would have to do. But for me, I can get by on some lower points totals and still feel pretty comfortable about how everything is.
So I actually like that answer because in my world, and this is where you and I differ, and it's perfectly fine to be different. Um, it's I like to have my sweet spot so that, for example, that Nashville trip that required a lot of points, I don't want to have to worry about do I have enough points or not. So that's why I like where my sweet spot lies is, oh, yes, I had to book this trip and it's higher than normal. Oh, I don't care. It's like we're not talking about redemption value because you know how I feel about cent per point. But it's like I have enough to just pay for it. So just pay for it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like what I mean when it comes to my sweet spot. So I'm not taking away from your answer, but I understand where you're coming from, and that's where we differ. But it. You answered my question my way, but in your reality. There we go. Matt, do you have a sweet spot?
So in terms of a sweet spot, I would like to think, um $1,000 in available points across whatever ecosystem I'm going in would be comfortable. Now, I if I'm traveling full family, full immediate family, it is myself, my partner, my child. That is three bookings that I have to make. That is three people on a booking I have to make. So I have to be able to at least afford three people on the flight if I'm making a flight. If I'm doing a hotel, be able to accommodate three, 2 to 3, depending on what the hotel is, whatever. My thinking is currently, and I prefer transferable currencies to non-proprietary currencies, just because I would prefer, um, for Chase, if I had an oh goodness moment, right, and I had to pull all my points out for to cover cash for something, I know that I'm getting 1 cent per point. I'm not getting 1 cent per point if I had to cash out all of my Hilton points, because I can't cash out my Hilton points. I can't cash out my JetBlue points, and like I have enough to make a close to a round trip booking in economy with JetBlue, but I always like take that point total and then like buy my way into more even more space, which is going to change next year, but whatever. So I would like to have $1,000 as a baseline. I am not currently at $1,000 as a baseline across all my currencies. In Chase, I am at 200,000 points currently, so I'm well above like that $1,000 baseline. Wells Fargo, I am just above that $1,000 baseline. Um, Hilton, I would have to be at 200,000 points. I don't keep a lot of points in World of Hyatt, just because my World of Hyatt balance is always going to be whatever's in my Chase balance, because I can just transfer over 1 to 1. My bookings there are relatively quick, relatively easy. Boom. I don't have to worry about it. It's going to take whatever it's going to take, depending on what sort of booking I'm doing. Like if I'm doing a 3,500 point booking in a category one hotel, perfect. 3,500 points. No big deal. That's like nothing at this point. Whereas if it was like a 25,000 point a night booking, that would be, a big chunk out of whatever I'm doing. So I want to make sure that, if I'm going to be able to cover that, I'm going to be able to cover that. So suffice to say, if it's my transferable currencies, which currently are Wells Fargo and Chase to the big to in terms of my biggest totals, I'm working on American Express, but American Express is going to be different because I need another American Express branded card. I'm just working on the one welcome offer with the Blue Business Plus, and that will only net me like 31,000 points. I'm not going to have like I currently don't have the green, gold, or platinum card to give me that big bonus, to give me that that larger set of points. So for me to feel comfortable, I would like to be at least 100,000 points across all of my point ecosystems. I would also like my transferable currencies to be around $1,000 in case of emergency. If I have to pull something out, I have to cover a bill I didn't expect to do. I have a way to cover that. But is that a question of too many cards? No, not necessarily, because of the way that I use my Chase cards to accumulate Chase points. I can hit that. Um, I rack up my points the way that I rack up my points. It would be better to use like the Chase shopping portal and some other stacking methods, but I'm doing okay with or without those. I can always go on I'm currently in a position with Chase where their scarcity marketing mindset to go out and grab 99,000 points if I had to, but I don't have to at the moment, which is helpful. But for me, my point sweet spot with transferable currencies would be at least $1,000. For proprietary currencies, whatever I can do, whatever I need to make a booking really quickly would be great. But I don't consider Hyatt with those bookings, just because I can turn to Chase really quickly. Uh Hilton, I want to build up something where like I can get 5 really good nights somewhere, but I currently don't have enough points to make that happen. So I got to keep buying with cash to set up that eventual like 5 nights where I'm paying for 4 nights at it doesn't even have to be the Waldorf, but like Embassy Suites, right? Like if I can get Embassy Suites for 4 nights, get that fifth night free, I'm in a good place. But I'm not there yet. So long-winded way to say transferable currencies, at least 100,000. More is better. Proprietary ways to make sure that I can get the booking that I want to get done.
Can I say one more thing? I do think that one thing to keep in mind, and this is a personal thing to me, but I think um, a lot of our listeners might be able to relate, right? When you grow up in, say, maybe a rural area, or you grow up and you're not necessarily on the higher end of the tax bracket, right? You have a mindset where you want a rainy day fund. And I think
Mhm.
I see those rhymes and reasons happen a lot in the points and miles game of, well, if I can get this card and get 99,000 points, then why shouldn't I? Because I need it for the rainy day, because if I suddenly get all my credit cards canceled tomorrow, I want to have it. And I understand that mindset, and I am not saying that I don't do things that are informed by that type of mindset. But I think sometimes we need to take a step back and say, are what we have to do for these points worth what we will get out of these points, right? Like Hyatt does this where they'll do like the 5 night certificates instead of points. And people were talking about that, and it was a big deal for a lot of people. They wanted those 5 nights, but what you had to spend was way far out of what you would spend on even a category four for 5 nights.
Right.
And I think sometimes we in the credit card community just need to take a step back and say, what mindset am I in? Am I in a mindset where I'm doing this thing because I'm scared that I won't be able to do this thing next month or next year? Or do you actually say, yes, these points would be helpful because we've been banding around the idea of going to, a LA Raiders game, and I live in Tacoma, and we want to take a nice flight down and stay in a hotel close to the stadium, right? Like, figure out what mindset you're in, and don't necessarily let I don't want to necessarily call it a poverty mindset, because you're raised in it, you don't necessarily love that word, but let sort of that scarcity mindset, or let that mindset that is driving the bus, be one that is not getting you to the place you want to be, because you're scared that it's the second shoe is going to drop. So that's just my plea as somebody who's been there and done that and bought several t-shirts during the stop, of just make sure you understand why you're doing the thing you're doing, and it's not just an automatic response.
So you're the person that goes to the Bahamas and buys a T-shirt that says Bahamas.
Yes. That if I were allowed in the sun for that long, that would be me, yes.
Oh boy. Um, any last thoughts on any of our topics here? Just a brief open forum. All right. Well, that's going to do it for our topics, and that's going to do it for this week's episode of Stack Your Points. If you like what we do, hit the like and subscribe button here on YouTube to continue our growth on YouTube. If you are listening to us on the Saturday show is the full show on the podcatcher of your choice. Please give us a 5-star rating so that we can continue to grow that way. Uh, if you really like what we do, join our Discord server. That is the Stack Your Points Discord server. The link for that is always in the description for what we do. Quick programming note for this week: we're going to be publishing the first version of the show, which is our main topics of the show. That is going to come out on Thursday, not Wednesday. Give RJ some time to give us some editing on Wednesday. This week in particular, just because there's a big thing happening on Tuesday, and we're gonna have feelings on that one way or another. That is the easiest way I can put things. Please go do your civic duty on November 5th. Again, that is all I'm going to say there. But this main topics is going to come out on Thursday. Then our questions, RJ, are those coming out on Friday as regularly scheduled?
Yes, those will come out as normal, and Monday basics will come out as normal.
Perfect. And the full show will come out on Saturday as normal as well. So just wanted to give that programming note. If you like what we do, hit the like and subscribe down below. If you want to leave us questions, as always, the comment section of the YouTube videos, as well as the Stack Your Points Discord, as well as the stackyourpoints@gmail.com. Lani, if we were to look for you on the internet, where is the best place to find you?
We had to put on the internet 'cause that means I got to take my little like pithy pun out of it. But anyway, I was gonna say
You knew the pun.
you can find me flying over Manhattan in my Blade helicopter as I you know what? Keep the tally mark going, RJ, as I use my built platinum status gift. I will be getting my one free helicopter ride through Blade for being a platinum member, because I'm not hitting platinum in 2025, y'all, because they wouldn't kill the program. And also never did anything with the program.
Can you kill it if it's not alive?
Can you kill a
Yes.
jellyfish?
I don't know, actually.
Weird philosophical questions to end this.
Yeah.
But so yeah, that's where that was fun. That was off track. But you can find me on YouTube at Call Me Lani, all one word. Lani is spelled Lani. And if I'm not there, hit me up in the Stack Your Points Discord. You can find me there.
You know, you make one built video, and the entire Stack Your Points episode just goes completely off the rails.
Yeah, you've only made one video about Bill ever, sir.
I didn't say ever. I just meant today. Anyway, RJ, where can we find you on the great expenses of the internet?
You can find me at Do You Take Cards on YouTube. You can also find me in the Stack Your Points Discord, telling people what to say in what server rooms, because that's apparently my job.
We all are moderators. I'm not the best moderator. I try my best. But hey, moderation is a good thing as opposed to some other credit card discords that you could join. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say there. You can find me, Matt Clausen, at the Matt Clausen YouTube channel, as well as the Stack Your Points Discord channel, and various places on the internet that if you know me, you'll find me. I'll put it at that one. As always, thank you so much for watching. We will be back next week. Please drop us 5 stars on the podcatcher of your choice. Please like and subscribe on the YouTube, and join the Stack Your Points podcast Discord. We moderate it, and we look forward to continuing the conversation there. Thanks as much as always, and talk to you guys next week.